Hi guys, I'm Aaron Middleton and today we're going to be cooking a beautiful fish pie pasty. And if we're talking about great food, we need to talk about the great ingredients you use to get you there. This is wild Alaska canned salmon, which offers more than just an amazing flavour. It's also a nutritional powerhouse packed with essential nutrients, zinc, iron and calcium, which can help fight the common cold, protect our DNA from damage and maintain strong bones. Rich in omega-3 fatty acids, high quality protein and vitamins A, D, C and E. Wild Alaska salmon supports heart health, brain function, overall well-being, as well as regulating mood swings and being crucial for good vision. Now let's find out just how easily you can bring the flavors of wild Alaska salmon into your kitchen. When you're making a fish pie, there's basically two things to make sure you put your attention towards. And the first thing is the filling. It's got to be round, it's got to have a beautiful amount of diced vegetable, a stunning hit of fish, that's where our Alaska canned salmon comes in, a really good zest of freshness, parsley, maybe some lemon, and then salt and pepper. Fish stock, 200 grams, and then we've got 100 grams of milk. The reason we're doing that is because we want the flavor of the fish, but we also want that richness, that creaminess that comes with adding milk or cream into your cooking. So the first stage, getting this done, it's all about dicing, knife work, controlling your blade and getting all of these beautiful vegetables diced up. So we start with an onion. Down to the board, you're going to take the top off. Then spin it round, take the root off, but only the hairy bit, leaving the root intact. That's going to allow the onion to stay together throughout the rest of the process. Slice in half, and then you just want to take off this outside layer of the onion because it can get a little bit chewy. Now you take the onion down to the board and you go one slice in through the middle. Don't take it all the way, you want to leave that root intact. After that, turn your knife 90 degrees, then you slice down, creating these beautiful little slices through the onion. Now take your knife again, you slice through those strips and that creates your dice. Another tip, when you get to the wobbly bit, push it down and then you've got all of these strips that you continue to get dice out of. Once that's all diced up, you're going to scoop it up and get it into a bowl. Next up, your carrot. First thing, you want to take the top off and the bottom off. And then with a peeler, you go long strips down the side of the carrot just to take off all of that skin and release the flesh. Now at this stage, you can keep your peelings for your stocks if you're that way inclined, or just put it on your compost. Down to the board and cut it in half. So turning that circle into a square can be a little bit of a chore, but to make it safe, to make it consistent, first thing you want to do is take off a little slither on the side. That flat bit is going to go onto the board so you're not rocking and rolling all over the place. Cut down to create those slices and those strips. Then cut lengthways through to create these little batons. Now we've taken those batons, we've grouped them together and we're just going to slice through to create our beautiful little dice. Then just scoop those up and get them straight into your bowl. Next up, your celery. Now celery has got little stringy bits on the outside of it that we need to peel off. Can you taste them right at the end of the product? Sometimes. Is it good practice to make sure your celery is peeled and properly prepared before you cut it? Absolutely. We're going to grab a peeler, start on the inside of one of those concaves and just take that side off. Go around the whole side of the celery. Be careful of your fingers. Make sure you get all those stringy fibers off the outside. Just like with the carrot, cut it down to bite-sized pieces. To be honest, this is so thin and small, it's already kind of like a strip. So we're going to use the concave nature of it and cut round to create our little batons that we can then turn into dice. By engaging the knife, being very careful of your fingers and slicing through. And you can add that to your carrot and your onion. We've got our base, we've got our stunning fish, we've got our roux base, our butter and our flour. Now we need to think about flavors. Zesty, pungent, herbaceous flavors. I'm using parsley and lemon. You could be using chive, you could be using basil. Any sort of soft herbs that you want to bang in here would be absolutely lovely. Maybe tarragon, maybe a little bit of fennel seed. Go with this flavor where you want. For me, parsley and lemon is a complete classic and it's one we're going to do today. So, chiffonade, it's a term that's coined from the tobacco industry and it basically means the rolling and then shredding of leaves. For this, we're going to use it on our parsley. So you roll them up, down to the board, and then shred through. We've got our chiffonaded parsley. It's beautiful, it's fine. Chop it as fine as you can, but be careful of your fingers. Next up, the lemon. We're gonna use the juice and the zest. So grab your microplane, and you're just gonna run that over the outside of the lemon. You wanna get the outside, the yellow bit. That's where all the flavor is, and that's where all the pungence is. And now you've got this, a lemon with no zest on it, it's a little bit softer. It's got a little bit less structure. So we're gonna roll it onto the board using the palm of your hand with a straight arm, pushing that through the board and really sort of get the juice going inside that lemon before we've even cut it open. Now we're gonna leave that to one side and get on with the cooking of our base. For us, with this, we don't want any color, we don't want any caramelization on our vegetables. So we're gonna go for a saucepan. And in that saucepan, there's gonna be high sides to keep in that moisture and regulate the temperature. And we've also got a lid to cook and sweat down. So we've got our medium saucepan on a medium heat. We're gonna add our butter. Now the butter is gonna be the base for the roux. Roux is a mixture of flour and butter that thickens liquids, i.e. our milk and our fish stock. So get all your vegetables in there as soon as that butter starts to foam, and then hit it with a good pinch of salt and a good pinch of pepper. Give that a quick stir just to expose all of those vegetables to the heat. Turn it down to a low heat, and then we're just gonna stick a lid on. We've been sweating our vegetables down now for about 5 minutes. And as you can see throughout the outside of that pan lid, there's a little bit of steam leaking out. That's telling us that the vegetables on the inside are giving their juice, they're giving their water, which is going to release the sweetness from those vegetables and allow that veg to properly cook down. Now at this stage, we're just going to add the flour. Give it a good stir, and then you want to cook this out for about 2 to 3 minutes, just so you start to get rid of some of that raw flour flavor. Once that flour is cooked out, you want to turn your pan up very slightly, so when the milk goes in, it starts to bubble, react with that flour, and then thicken. Add half of it at the start, and then stir that in, and allow that flour and that butter, that roux, to start thickening the sauce. Now there is one slight difference with this bechamel sauce to one you would put, let's say, in a fish pie dish and then cover with mashed potato. You want it a little bit thicker. That's because it's gonna have to hold itself inside of that pastry and not squirt out all over the place. So at this stage, we've been cooking down for about 5 minutes. It's got nice and thick. I've had to constantly stir it just to make sure it doesn't catch on the bottom. Now, turn it off, and then we're gonna add our beautiful canned Alaska salmon. I've got these beautiful big flakes of salmon that are gonna go straight into our pot. When you take it out of the can, there will be a little spinal column in there. Just discard that, or if you don't mind crunching through it, get it in there as well. It's not going to do you any harm whatsoever, and it's packed full of nutrients. And then over the top of that, your beautiful chiffonade parsley and that stunning fragrant lemon zest. Our parsley's in there, our salmon in there, our lemon zest is in there. We need to hit it with our lemon juice. That pre-rolled citrus down to the board, just cut it in half. And then through your fingertips, squeeze that lemon, catch all the seeds, let that beautiful fresh juice pour into the pot. Just give it a good stir. Don't bash up the fish too much. You want those big flakes in there. We're gonna take that out into a bowl and then cool it down. We're just gonna cover this with cling film, stick it in our fridge, and then we'll start to build our beautiful fish pie pasty. So now your fish pie mix has cooled down slightly in the fridge. Give it a quick stir, and then we're gonna start to fill the pastry. Pastry down onto your board, and then you wanna fill this in the middle, but slightly towards the bottom. So spoon all your beautiful pie mix into the middle. And the reason we're putting it more in the middle than at the bottom is so when we pick this pastry up and fold it over, we can crimp down the sides and then push that beautiful filling all around, making sure we get rid of the air and crimp that pastry down nicely. At this stage, just push down with your fingers. Then you want to get a little bit of flour over the top, and with a fork, you push in and drag away, push in, drag away. And that's just to seal those two bits of pastry together. And the flour's there just to stop that fork sticking. And then once that's done, all full and plump, take your knife and you're just gonna trim off around the outside, leaving about 1.5 centimeters of that lip, just so it keeps that pasty together. Now all that's left to do is egg wash. We've got 1 egg here, just lightly beaten. Take your brush and just brush that all over the top, down into the grooves. Less is more with this as well. Drip your brush off on the edge of the bowl just to give you a little bit more control. And this, when it cooks, is going to give a beautiful shine, a beautiful glaze to that pastry. Then onto a tray on that greaseproof paper, and we're just going to pop these into the oven about 190 degrees for about 20 minutes just to get that pastry beautiful and crisp and golden brown. So we're out the oven, baked to a golden brown perfection. It's just been sat on the side now for about 5 minutes. It's got a nice crispy bottom. The edges have held up, it's sealed, it's beautiful, it's cooked. Now at this stage, you can leave this to go to room temperature on the side, stick it in a picnic, or you can serve it up straight away with a bit of salad and a few other things. For me, personally, cut it in half, bit of ketchup, and dive right in. So to recap, that's a stunning Alaska canned salmon fish pie pasty with that beautiful flaked meat, rich in nutrients and deep in flavour, with the stunning richness from those vegetables, the hit of their luxurious sauce, thickened with that roux and flavoured with parsley, lemon, a good hit of salt and a good hit of pepper. It's a perfect fish pie pasty that now you can make at home with your friends or with your loved ones. Don't forget to taste it, don't forget to enjoy it. Happy cooking.